Do you want me to put this somewhere where you can see it?
No.
No. No, you don't gotta.
I'll just
I don't have to see it.
follow your lead.
I just follow your lead, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. How about you start us off? Miss Amber Long.
Welcome to the podcast. We're your hosts, Amber Long
Long.
and
Zachary Birdsong. Song.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, but it
About
is
what?
us. No, we're really here.
Yeah, what do you mean?
And today we're talking about people pleasing.
You do that more often than you may think that you do.
What?
You add on to something, or you say something silly, and then you say you're just joking, but there's no there's no false information that you've provided, but you say, I'm just joking.
You know, I've
That's
been thinking a
joke."
lot about way back in the day. I used to have a friend who used to be like, in every just kidding, there's a little bit of truth. Which is also why I'm very sensitive to when people make jokes. Because that lives in my mind.
Rent free.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, we're really here and we're really talking about people pleasing.
Yes, we are talking about people pleasing. Real quick, before we really dive into that, do you think that, so you have that thought, living rent free. So do you have like a dense urban environment in your mind?
Oh, great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metaphors, man.
Yeah, it's
Metaphors
pretty-
do something.
You know, it is dense and very urban, but I tend to hang out only in certain neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd like to get out more.
That's so relatable to
Yeah.
like just... That's so funny. I love that. I would say the same. It's a dense urban environment. It's like these are studio apartments. So they're small.
Packed in
It's packed. It's like a few big buildings. The transportation network is horrible.
Oh.
It's just tough to get to other areas.
Oh.
You know? You try, but like you have to get through like
The connection, the
natural
network
features.
is poor.
Yeah. There's just you can't get through the floodplain.
No.
In mine you can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's hard to.
we're
It's
in
hard
different
to.
cities.
It's hard to. Well, of course we're in different cities.
Yeah.
Of course we are.
If you had to name the neighborhood that you're in the most, what would you call
man.
it?
I think I would call it something like, I'm trying to think of typical neighborhood names. I haven't been in like a lot of big cities and got acquainted to like their naming conventions or whatever.
Just what would you call your ruminative block?
My room, I might would just call it that.
My
Yeah, I think that's it.
block of
I
rumination.
think that's it. Yeah. Because the building that I hang around is the one that houses all the thoughts that are just about myself and how I think I'm being perceived.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All cities are, all bodies are planets, but cities too.
Yes.
I think about that a lot.
Really?
How you are your own planet.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all these little citizens.
I
Every
like that.
cell is a little citizen.
Mm-hmm. And every thought.
And every thought, well, that's part of what they produce.
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you got all these like bacteria that live there, and they gotta like be managed. Fungi live there if they gotta be managed, you know. They're good guys until they're not.
Yeah. And then they're not even fun guys. They're just guys.
That's right.
Yeah. Wordplay is so much fun.
Isn't it just?
It really is.
That's why words are the best.
Yeah, words
Language
are the
is
best. It's so amazing. It's what separates. That's
Yeah,
what separates.
yeah,
It truly is.
it is,
and that's
actually.
what makes it like so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. But people pleasing. What is it? What is people pleasing? And I guess so I'll differentiate here, because it's not my answer to that isn't as much about what is people pleasing, but what is a person who people pleases, someone who you would call a peeper. A people pleaser.
You're struggling with peas today.
I know. I don't know what it is. Maybe I need to go back to speech therapy, or maybe I need to warm up with Peter picked a pipe of pickled peppers. See, and I said that just
Piper
fine.
picked a pack of pickled peppers.
Oh, a pack? I always say peck because I thought peck was just like a word to. Anyways,
Piper picked a pack.
So I think it's basically when a person prioritizes the needs and opinions of others over their own, and it's often to their own detriment, and it's consistent, right? Because I think the difference there to your favorite quote, which will start just coming up, I think a lot now because it's so applicable to everything. It's like
quote.
It's like a foundational way of living life. Yeah, just like I think people should, maybe we should put that on like a placard or something for people to hang up on their wall, honestly.
It is a little bit of my moral compass.
It's a good one, but it's too much of anything is too much. And I guess to go with that too little of anything is too little.
That's right.
And so you got to find that nice little grounding period for you, because it can be tailored to people differently. So when we're talking about people pleasing here, this isn't to say you should always or never do it, right? It's to say that if you're doing it consistently at a rate in which it is a detriment to yourself, your health, your happiness, then that is not conducive to a good life.
Like dairy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
like dairy. Are you lactose?
No.
Oh, but you have other issues and concerns with dairy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Continue.
Yes. She doesn't want to focus on the dairy, y'all. Her dairy problems. And so I think there's and we'll go through these one by one. I won't list them off all and then talk about them, but we'll just go one by one. So there are like a few primary drivers of what causes people to people please. And the first one we'll talk about is like the fear of rejection, right? And so that can be either by like, because this works in different ways. There's the fear of rejection of strangers, and then there's like the fear of rejection by people you know. And for some reason, I'm trying to think of like a different word to use in my head, because I feel like it's more apt to say rejection when it's in terms of strangers than it is people you know. I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe it's because if people already know you, I mean, I guess they could still reject the thing that you're afraid of letting out. But there's a difference there, I guess, is to say that I feel like there's something different kind of happening.
Yeah, I would have to know more about the character of what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I don't know. I know it feels different. Maybe I have to think about that a little bit more. But it can be either. So it can be by anyone, right? You can be rejected by anyone. And so I know that for myself, that's a reason why I can be incredibly, quiet or just not very talkative around people that I don't know. It's because I have to first have time to see what the vibe is,
So you feel like it's pretty important to acclimate socially.
Right, which is a part of that people pleasing thing, though, because you're basically saying that like I am going to not act in accordance with how I typically do or maybe would like to be acting in order to make sure that I'm meeting the mold of the existing group or context that I'm around.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think it makes sense to do that in particular, like in more professional settings, right? That makes sense. But I think that if you're doing it in like every situation where you feel a little bit out of place that you go into, then that's a bit of that too much of something is too much, You're hampering down a bit too much on like who you're trying to be or being afraid of that rejection. And so one specific example that I have, and then I'll see if you have anything, is earlier this week, Yeah, it's Saturday, so this week. I had talked to a friend about going over to their place, and they were going to have a gathering of multiple people, right? And so I had said yes earlier in the week that I planned on going, and it was supposed to be, last night. And yesterday comes around, and I had had some things, happen since then. And so once Friday hit, I just wasn't feeling up to it anymore. I was feeling kind of drained socially and just kind of mentally with things that had happened recently and stuff. And so I just kind of wanted to relax at home and do whatever that, do whatever ended up taking place with that in mind. And for me, last night it was playing some games and working on some music. Mm-hmm. It was a good night. I enjoyed myself. It was fun. It was relaxing. And so, but I didn't know what, I felt pressure to have to still go because I didn't want to seem like a flake or have the people who expected me to be there be upset at me for not going, right? And so, and I think on the way here I brought it up. I was thinking about proper etiquette, right? Like what is proper etiquette for situations like these?
Yeah.
And so I talked to Cam about it, and she was basically like, girl, if you don't feel up to, she was saying that that's normal. That just happens, that you don't need to feel bad, that you can say that you plan on doing something, right? But it should just be, I guess, generally socially known or acceptable that people can change their minds if something's happened and they don't. Because in my mind, I was thinking, well, if I don't have an excuse, like a genuine physical excuse that I have been called upon by someone else that I have to do something, right, in place of this. And so I genuinely just cannot make it. But it didn't feel like to me. And when I thought about it like this, I was like, well, this is kind of doing me a disservice to make myself feel like I need to go just because I'm physically capable, even though I'm mentally not there to do it. That's not fair to me, right? And so that is a too much of the people pleasing there, because what I'm saying in that scenario is that my state of being is not more important than making sure that I may not, upset them a little bit, right? And so that was nice to kind of understand and get that perception from somebody else, because for me, at least the way that I've thought about it for so long, it was more about that physicality, right? Whether or not you can actually make it or not. And so I ended up just saying, hey guys, I'm not feeling up to it. I'm feeling kind of drained, and so I won't be able to make it tonight, and just kind of left it at that. Didn't go into further detail. Again, and I could have just said, hey, I won't make it tonight, but that seemed a bit cold. I wanted to at least say whether it was, if something else had come up, I would have been like, something else has come up and I have to attend to that or whatever. But I wanted to at least give some inkling as to why for it. But you don't have to go into deep detail about it.
Yeah.
So do you have a similar experience or?
I'm trying to think. I definitely know the feeling that you're talking about, because I used to feel that way a lot. Of if I didn't have an actual explicit reason not to do something. And the positive part was that I put myself out there a lot. I showed up to a lot of things that I had a lot of anxiety about going to, or even pushing through, whatever happens. I don't even know what you would call it, but just even if you want to go do something, but then as it's approaching, you're like, ugh, I don't know, I just kind of want to stay here, and then pushing through that feeling and going.
Yeah, and because I do think that's a little bit, because there's some anxiousness there. Yeah. And for this, it wasn't as much.
Or just fatigue. I think it's a little bit of fatigue sometimes. Then I think of being but I'm saying this to say.
Yeah. Sorry.
There were benefits to it, because I did go out and I did meet people and I did socialize, and I did always kind of feel no, I'm glad I did this. But to the point about, even when that happens, though, there's this the thing that you're reinforcing within yourself, which is to ignore your feelings, which is if I'm tired, push through it.
Right.
If I'm in a bad headspace, like just push through it, which sometimes can be worse because then now I'm showing up tired. Now I'm showing up grumpy.
Exactly. And you're not bringing anything to
Yeah.
that situation anymore.
Yeah. And that sometimes like the flip side, like in this instance, what it feels like we're talking about in terms of people pleasing is like with the etiquette, what's expected of me here. And like, I think,
am I going to upset people?
right.
You know?
And I think physically built into that, if your people pleasing is coming from a societal pressure kind of place, that it is equally as appropriate for you to bow out of a situation if you're not going to contribute to
Right.
merriment. And I
Yes.
think a good example of that is Chelsea Handler, the comedian, tells this story about how she showed up to a party at Jane Fonda's house. And she was really grumpy and she was like on some sort of drug or something. So she's just being extremely negative. And then Jane Fonda had been like cold to her after that. And she had no idea why. But then during that time period, she started working on herself, started, being more sober, trying to be less defensive. And then Jane Fonda calls her and she's like, I want you to come over to my house. And she was like, okay. And so she went back over there and they had dinner. And she was like, if you haven't noticed, I've been kind of cold to you. And she was like, I did notice that. And Jane Fonda was like, you were so rude at my party and you were just so negative and so nasty. If you were going to be like that, why did you come? And she was like, I don't even remember because I was so out of it that I don't remember what I even said to everybody, but I'm sure I believe you. I said something terrible.
Right.
And you're totally right. And I need to work on my attitude. So
that's a beautiful conversation.
yeah. And it was a friend calling you in being like, you need to get it together.
Yeah. And Miss Fonda took her time, before
Yeah, 'cause
calling
she was
her
upset.
up.
Yeah.
She was like, let me feel this, let
Yeah.
me get through it, and then I'll bring her in and we'll talk about it. And
Yep.
and maybe she had seen some improvements too, so she saw that was, she was already kind of working on herself some. But no, it's exactly things like that. That I think are good. But to your point too, I think that there is something to be said about making sure that even if sometimes you don't feel like it, and this is where like the too little comes in, it can be good to go out of your way, because sometimes you may not feel like it, but you can end up showing up there and your vibe change completely based off of like your
Right.
interactions with others. And
Right.
so you're never going to get it perfect.
Right.
But it's just to say that like when you feel like you can, even if you don't feel like it, try it out sometimes. And then sometimes if you really just don't feel up to it and it feels like a trek or more like a chore to just even make the distance to go there,
Right.
then it's completely fine to count yourself out.
Yeah.
And people might reject you for it too, and that's part of it. And that's where though you got to be okay with it in terms of you are staying true to like how you feel and who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
I can give it a more specific example. Was actually for your birthday last year. And we had a joint birthday party.
Are you gonna talk? Is this about me?
Yeah. No, but
I thought you were
not
gonna
about
give
you.
more. Oh, okay.
But like it was for your birthday.
Yeah.
So you, me, and one of your friends had a joint birthday dinner, and then we
Shout
had
out to Blaze.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, shout out to Blaze. And then there was like we had our work celebration because we both had birthdays in August. So we celebrated our birthday then, and we got like a custom, like, what was it, a cookie cake?
Oh yeah.
So I felt like we had celebrated our birthday then, and then didn't we do like one other thing?
Did we? Jeez, I don't know.
I want to say
I wouldn't be surprised.
We did at least two things, and then you were having a birthday thing.
Like my own.
Yeah,
that
just
I
to
invited
like
you to.
have drinks.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember.
Oh, and you didn't go.
And I didn't go.
Right,
and I
right.
remember like kind of weighing my options because I felt like I should have gone.
Well, but I think you told me too, didn't you, that you
Yeah.
just didn't feel.
Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
And what it really was I could just start to like my social battery is weird. And if I socialize with a lot of people, basically really what it is that if I do a lot of stuff outside of my normal routine, a lot in like a short period of time, I will feel really tired. And it can take me a really long time, actually physically, to recover from it. I will be very, very sleepy.
Well, and I wonder, too, if it just being about the same kind of topic or same kind of thing played a role.
So what I felt was like, this isn't like a novel thing.
Yes, you've already done it like twice.
Right, we've celebrated a few times.
You didn't need to celebrate me anymore. I had been celebrated.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I celebrate.
But yeah.
We celebrate often.
Yeah, you're right.
Enough that I did kind of feel that was one of the first instances where like I was like, oh no, we're really friends because you understood and you didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't any sort of like slight against you. I just was getting really, because then my friends were in town and I was hosting them.
Right.
During that period of time and like in August, and just like a lot had happened in August where I was like, I'm tired.
Right. Well, and you had made a good point because like you said, something had already been done twice, right? And so even if that was like the only thing and you had other stuff going on, I still would have understood and then maybe would have been like, well, hey, then we can do something later sometime.
Yeah.
Right. Or something like that.
Yeah. So that's one of those things, and I mentioned that to say like, it was scary. It wasn't like, I don't want to. Like, I thought a lot about it. Like, I even talked to my sister and was like, I think I'm not going to go. I don't know. But because it just was one of those things where, like, I felt like I had to honor. And and everybody was going to be there. I've been seeing pretty regularly.
Right.
So I think in terms of people pleasing, if you're afraid that to make a decision that's kind of best for yourself, if you're afraid that it's going to affect your relationships, like, you don't have to, especially if you spend a lot of time with those folks, it's okay to kind of like sit a few out. And if your bonds are as strong as you think they are.
You're right. I was just about to say.
There will be no love loss. Like, it will have no effect.
And even if there is like some hard feelings, I'm not saying there wasn't, but even if there was, those will dissipate if the bond is strong too, right? Because that's just bound to happen sometimes. We've experienced that.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, "What do you?" I was like, "What?"
I was trying to think about what you're saying, but then I was like, "Oh yeah,
yeah."
It'll pass."
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's like the fear of conflict part too, which I think. Well, I was going to say, I think for me it happens more in like professional settings, but I don't think I think that's only the case because when you're in a professional setting, there are just more opinions and things that are being talked about, where when you're hanging out with friends, you can just, you're goofing off, you're just having a good time, you know, you don't have to be talking about something serious or something that has like real world consequences and stuff, but like it's really about the difficulty with disagreement for me in terms of like conflict. And so like if the atmosphere can feel heavy, I might be more likely to not say anything because I don't want to contribute to that. I don't do it as often anymore, staying quiet. I'll voice my opinion more than I used to, but there are still times where I notice I've just decided in that moment where like, yeah, I'm just going to kind of, you know, leave myself out of this because I don't want to be brought into this because I see that it might be at a point to where it's not necessarily even conducive, right, to talk about it because people are, you know, maybe feeling negatively about it or whatever. But I think because of my perception on what a heavy atmosphere feels like, that the barrier to entry for that is lower for me insofar as the perception of something seeming heavy. Like when I've talked to people about conflict and disagreements, it seems like they have a bit more of like a cavalier or healthy understanding of having disagreements than I do. I see it more as like, and I won't ever take it as a slight for myself, but I am afraid that if I disagree with somebody to some extent, or if it seems like it's something they really feel, you know, strongly about, then I will feel like that they think I'm making a slight against them. Right. And that's how you know too that it's a really strong people pleasing thing, because you're not giving yourself that same treatment. right? If someone's doing it to you, you're not seeing it as a slight. But if you do it to someone else, you see it as a slight. You know that you're reducing your own state of being below theirs, because you're not granting yourself the same.
Yeah.
You know, you're not putting you and other people on the same playing field.
Do you think that also that fear of conflict is linked to the fear of rejection?
I think so. I think that, because you can, I think they can be linked, but I think that you can also be in situations where you may not have any fear of being rejected by the person because you don't plan to see them again. Maybe, for example, maybe they're just like a stranger that you've met at like a gathering, but you just don't even want the conflict. Like maybe you have no desire, maybe you've heard about them or you know about them a little bit, you just don't have a desire to really, turn that into a friendship or anything. And so the fear of rejection maybe isn't there as much as just like being in conflict itself,
Yeah. I think the fear of conflict, it definitely is a people-pleasing thing, because when I was younger, I was very confrontational. And I didn't see it, like you're saying. Like, I was just like, it's just...
telling it how it is, being honest.
It's just a factor of life. I'm a person, you're a person.
If you
We're
can't
going to
handle
disagree
it,
sometimes.
Yeah, and if you can't handle it, that's on you.
I guess I didn't even think about it that far. I think it was like, why can't you handle it? And if you come to me and you say some stuff to me, okay. But over time, I definitely built up this, I just became more sensitive to that. Over minuscule stuff. Like one time we were talking with our coworkers, and they had asked me, "Are you team Haley or team Selena?" And I said, "I'm team Justin's face." And this was during the time when Justin Bieber's half of his face was paralyzed because of his tick bite. And I was...
Oh, so you're just saying you were supportive of him?
Yeah, and they were like, do you want him to get with Selena or do you want him to get with Hailey Bieber? And I was didn't want to even wade into the conversation and possibly disagree with people I wanted to be friends with, that I just made a joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm team Justin's face. I couldn't, because I just was like,
couldn't pick a side.
Yeah, I just want to be liked.
And they're just like, oh, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, and honestly, I don't feel too strongly about the matter anyway, so it wasn't even something that I was like...
Which is also a people-pleasing thing, to just not have strong opinions to begin with.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes also I just really...
It depends on your values.
Let's never underestimate the degree to which I don't care.
Yeah, right.
I don't care. There was one time even I was in I was taking a dance class, and it was just me and the instructor. I was the only person who signed up for the class. And there was another girl who had taken a class there previously, she was in the class before, and she didn't leave right away. And so she was just standing off to the side, taking pictures of herself at this studio, because it was a pole studio, so I think there was some feeling good after doing pole dancing. And the instructor was so upset, and she was coming up to me and she was like, "Oh my God, can you believe that? That's so rude. I'm teaching a class." And I just was it's kind of just standing there, because I was like, this is what I was thinking in my mind. She's not bothering me. She's over there. I can pay attention to you. I'm not really upset.
And it was just you, her, and the teacher?
It was, in the room. And so it was me, and the teacher was teaching me, because I was the only one who signed up for the class.
Oh, wait, then who was the other person?
She lingered in the studio after her class had ended.
Oh.
And so the instructor...
It's a one-on-one. I'm kind of with you on this.
Yeah. Me? Or with the instructor?
No, with you, and you're you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care. It wasn't bothering me. And but I liked the instructor, and I wanted her to like me, so I just kind of didn't say anything. I was like...
You didn't even nod your head, or was
I think I did.
You were like, yeah. What a bitch.
No. But I think I was just like, oh yeah, I could see it, that.
Dude,
but I just couldn't.
That's a common catchphrase for me.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying there. Or no, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
If you hear me saying that,
I can understand that.
Then you don't Yes, I'm not giving you what I really think, or I just don't care about
or
what
I
you're
just
saying.
don't care, but I don't want to upset you.
Right,
so,
right.
And
Because you feel obligated to say something.
Yeah,
you're not just
'cause you're
gonna
coming to me and you-
imagine someone walking up to you saying something like that, and then you just stand there and look blankly. Like, what are they gonna do?
honestly, in the past, I think that's probably what I would have
Amber,
done.
no.
But I just was
Wow.
like, I
Props
was
to you.
in a phase of life where I was just kind of like, I really want to be connected to people because I was living alone.
Right.
And I was like, I'm so desperate for connection at this point with people, which is a space I've never been in my life, that I'm like, that's what I'm going to do.
If you had done that to me, I probably would have to like tap you on the head to make sure you weren't like a wax figure or something at that point. I'd be like, is this Amber?
Yeah, because
Is she
I'll tell
here?
you the truth.
Yeah.
But that's probably a good example of me, just like two examples of me being like,
Just going along with it. Yeah.
but I'm not gonna like. There's a line because I'm not one of those like. If we're all mad about something, if I'm not mad about it, I'm not getting mad about it.
Well, so what would you have done if after she said that to you and you were like, yeah, you're right, or something like that, and she like hollered over to the person.
I think
was
she
like,
did. She went over there and like told her to leave.
Oh, well, what if she hollered while still standing by you and was like, hey, excuse me, I'm teaching a class here and we think you're being really included you like in the analysis of the establishment of her being rude. Like, what would you would you have just stood there? Is that like your worst nightmare?
Oh, yeah, because I'm like, I don't actually care. Yeah, I think I would have felt bad. But she did end up saying something to her to the effect of like, this is my class, like you need to leave, kind of thing. And I probably felt extremely uncomfortable. I can't even remember.
Yeah,
like just
you
being
blocked
like,
it out. You
yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
That's funny. No, those are my go-to phrases. I feel that. I'm trying to think of another example that I have or a specific one.
I do look at people. I'll just look at them and be like,
well, yeah,
like make a little like, I'm sympathetic.
yeah.
I'm sorry you feel this way, kind of thing.
Right.
But
can tell
that's
in
where
the
my
eyes.
empathy stops, where I'm like, but I don't care. So
You do say I don't care a lot. You say it a lot.
because I don't.
I know.
Don't
I know.
care.
I'll ask you. I'll be like, what do you think of this? And you're like, I don't care. Or maybe you'll even like give me like a half-hearted opinion or something, and I'll be like, okay, but like, what about this? And you're like, and then that's when you've understood. Okay, he's not going to. He wants
you're,
an
like,
answer on
pressing
this.
on
Like,
it, so I'm
you're
like-
like, I can't just be like surface level here. So you do a little arm wave and thing, and you slam it down, not slam it down, but you put it down on your desk, and you're like, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's the end of that. That's where that ends. So I'm glad you don't have the people-pleasing problem with some people. It's good because I don't. Yeah, with close friends or people you know or family, they're good people to practice on. Because even sometimes you can get too habitually tied up in doing that if you're spending a lot of time with like other people into the people-pleasing, and so it can like linger on to people that you do feel comfortable with. So I think that it's good practice to.
It is kind of like one of those things too. Where I do feel bad about it not being a super big people pleaser, in the sense that like, if you come to me though and like you are close to me, with some people when they're close to someone, they'll be like say you're like, oh my gosh, Sam is just such a jerk, and like I hate his guts, and I'd be like, ugh, screw Sam, because honestly,
Yeah.
who is he anyway?
Yeah,
like
right.
I'm like. When people are upset with people though, if I felt that way and I'd be like, yeah, screw Sam. That's what I would say. But if you came to me and you were like, oh my gosh, Sam is so annoying, and like he literally was like, can I borrow your car. I really have to take my mom to the hospital. And who does he think he is? I'd be like, what the heck? Like,
Yeah, what's
you should
wrong
have
with
taken
you?
Sam. Or like, he did. Maybe you could have driven him. I don't know.
Yeah, and then what if she's like, but Sam smells. I don't want him in the car
Like, I'm
with
going to
me."
tell you about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not one of those people who will just go along with people and, like, support them just because you're my friend or
Yeah.
you're my whatever. Like, if it is something kind of silly or, like, I don't fully, like, disagree with you, I'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've reached kind of
But-
a middle ground with that because Cam has told me a couple of times if she's just venting about something or someone, I have a tendency to be like, well, but what about this? And they might be thinking about this, or like I can understand this to some extent because of this element or this factor.
Yeah.
And she's like, girl, I'm just trying to talk right now. Just let me vent, And I'm like, okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I can save that for later, or I can never mention it at all because sometimes it doesn't really have any like impact, right? Like people really are just talking, and if it wasn't like an actionable thing, like your example, where they're asking to do something for their
That was
grandma.
a really extreme
Yes, it
example.
was. But like if they're just saying like, yeah, this happened and it was annoying, you don't need to try to explain away everyone's possible grievances towards someone to make them
Right.
come out like more human on the other
Yeah,
side.
you can be like, that was so annoying, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That was annoying. I'd be annoyed too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and you don't have to be like, oh, let's try to humanize them more. Because then when you do that, you're kind of almost dehumanizing their feelings
Yeah.
on them, right? It's like a give and take kind of thing there. But the person who's confiding in you is someone you're closer with, and so
Yeah.
you should err on maybe making them feel a little bit more comfortable in what they're feeling and going through.
Yeah, I think
man.
in that
That was great.
kind always remember to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, please yourself.
What I was gonna say was that if you are afraid of conflict
Yeah.
between you and someone else, just especially if it's like on the basis of disagreeing about something, just remember that like in that conversation you can validate while expressing your own opinion. And I think that that's like a healthy way to navigate it, is to just make that person feel understood. Or, if it's like you can make it banter, you can make it more jokey, you can move it out of the realm of something being serious. And both of those kind of approaches can help you tell the truth or show up honestly or authentically.
While taking down those defensive mechanisms.
in the other person, so that you don't have to compromise either the relationship or yourself.
And sometimes it takes a little bit more time too. That's something I've had to learn recently is like some people you can do that 10 minutes later or even 3 minutes later in the same discussion. You can empathize with them or tell them that you understand and then go to the solution or next thing. But some people may need a whole day. And you just kind of need to figure that out for yourself as to like what type of person you're dealing with,
Yeah.
For some, it just takes longer for them to go through the processing, which is completely fine. And then the third one is like a fear of failure with people pleasing. And I think there is some kind of like rollover with all of these.
Interesting.
Well, like in being, and when I thought of this, it was in terms of kind of like being wrong, I guess. So something people pleasers can be highly aware of, I feel like, is how subjective everything can be. Because if you're used to people pleasing, then you're accustomed to thinking about all these perceptions that other people have and their opinions and trying to appease those opinions, right? So I think that like if you're a people pleaser, you may be highly attuned or aware of how you can come across to others or what other people may be thinking around you. And so because of that, you may be afraid to just like with you, with that example that you gave with the don't look so scared, with the example that you gave with choosing between Haley or Selena. You knew you were like, there might be a mixed bag here, right? If you had known that maybe everyone liked Selena, maybe you would have said Selena if you had already known that.
I think that was that they were expecting me to say Selena. But I didn't have a problem with Hailey Bieber.
Right.
So I didn't want to lie.
So you still kind of stuck to your guns a little
Yeah.
bit. So you joked instead. But like but that is also, there's like the being wrong there, because you didn't want to go against them and be wrong too. So it's a little bit of both
I see
there.
what you're saying.
You know, so like,
Yeah.
so I guess the fear of failure is just like the idea of not meeting the
Yeah.
expectation of others, you know.
Yep.
And so like there's like that subjective wrong perception, and then there's like the being factually wrong, right? Because
Yep.
I think the fear of failure with like either one of those comes into effect in terms of like being seen as or perceived as being stupid or not intelligent or lesser than,
Interesting.
right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because let me repeat this back to you and see
Yeah.
if I'm understanding you.
yeah, do it.
So recently,
Uh-huh.
I have realized that, you know, we've been talking about how like we don't recognize our feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We just feel them, and then we're like, "What is this?" kind of thing.
Or we don't.
Or we
I don't. You feel your feelings more than I feel my feelings.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one of the things I've been not able to recognize is the feeling of when I disagree with someone.
Yeah.
And I'm actively disagreeing. And I can say, I disagree in some cases. But then there are other cases where you may have your worldview. I may have my worldview. And for some reason, I'm so caught up. I'm trying to get out of this, but I've held this idea for the past few years. I think it's partially because I'm like on the quest to be the best person I can possibly be, that if I come across an idea about the world that seems to be more open-minded or accepting of human nature, then I will be like, oh, I'm wrong and you are right. And so then, instead of me being like, no, I just have a perspective
Yes.
and you have a perspective, I will spend a lot of time trying to understand your perspective and applying it and trying to ask other people if they feel this way, and just trying so deeply to put myself into that perspective that I neglect 1000% what I actually think and feel and believe, or why I feel that way. And I give myself no grace. I just tell myself, I was wrong. They were right. I need to conform to
Right.
how they think and how they see the world.
And yes, that is people pleasing based on a fear
Yeah.
of failure, because you're trying to now take what they're saying because they may have been passionate about it or whatever, and you see
or it
them.
was 2 against 1.
yeah, yes, the masses are against you, but you see people who are, and from your perspective, you may see them as happier or having a quote unquote better life, and so you're like, it must be because of this perspective,
Yes.
and because they are happier or having a better life, they must be doing something right, and this could be it. So
Does
let
that
me
affect
adopt
you?
this, huh?
Are you subject to? Because that's
That's
half
your
my personality
I would say
in a
that's your
nutshell.
primary. Yes,
that's my issue.
Yes. No.
in life.
Mine is actually, so I have the fear of being wrong, but I don't take on other people's perceptions like that as much. For me, it's more about just like, well, I mean, not in terms of worldview. I feel like as far as worldview goes, I have a pretty or relatively solidified worldview that I stick with, and I can be open and understanding of others. I think it has evolved since talking, because I would say that out of a lot of the people that I've talked to throughout my life, in terms of people who really think about this stuff and are able to articulate it, you have had the most different worldview from me. And so in talking with you more, I have branched out more into that understanding of these really are just perspectives, and no one's really right or wrong. Everyone's different. It is really just kind of what works for you, so long as you're not hurting or harming others.
Would you like to talk about the example that brought that out at one point?
Yes, I don't remember.
We were just talking about it yesterday.
Okay, yeah, remind
about
me.
when you're in a relationship.
Oh,
how
yeah.
should you regard your partner?
Right.
There was this period of time where I was like, when you're in a relationship, you should feel like your person is the most beautiful person in the world or the most attractive person in the world to you. And Zach and one of our other friends was like, that's not realistic. And our other friend was like, you just want people to lie to you. And I was like, no. And I was like, so, like, when I say, like, my whole, like, view on relationships, like, there were a few things that started to, like, deconstruct my view of, like, relationships and marriage. And that conversation was probably, like, one of the biggest
And in
things.
a positive way, you're saying? Like in a release valve kind of way? Or, like, do you feel more comfortable or...
I think
or
I
was
just...
it hurtful, too?
Honestly, comfort? No. No. I feel what it did was it stripped me of confidence and left it in its place a reliance on faith.
Oh.
I had to be way more
trust.
trusting
Yes.
than I ever thought I needed to be.
Right.
In terms of how you about how relationships work.
And it is very scary.
It was the worst thing. It's good, and I feel like I do have a healthier mindset, and I can understand the motivations of people better.
But getting there.
And I can have a lot more grace for myself in terms of, like, when you're in a relationship, you're going to find other people attractive, and it doesn't mean you're a terrible person. Or, you know, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to try to look your optimum best for the person that you're with. And that even your appearance at all may not even be why they're with you. Or it may not crack the top 3 reasons why. And that you can still be in a healthy, beautiful, wanted, chosen relationship with somebody who doesn't think, like, look at you and go, wow, all the time. But it was hard to accept for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That fear of, I'm trying to tie it back into the fear of failure, because that's where it started. So what was... what I felt navigating that or coming out of that conversation was, how could I have been so wrong about the world? And I have this thought very often now. I'm like, I cannot believe how wrong I am all the time. But I felt like I was like, how did I come to this conclusion that apparently other people don't have, and that may not be very healthy? Well, and so that's a good discussion point for how important it is to make sure that you are voicing your opinion in opposition when talking to people about things like that, and not being afraid to possibly maybe end up being wrong by virtue of you thinking that you're, because it's all about you, right? And so you may have felt wrong at first because 2 people were telling you something different, but you ultimately came to your own conclusion that you believe in this now, right? It changed your perspective.
That I believe in what you guys were saying?
Or that you're more aligned with that, right? Because you said you gained a healthier, so it wasn't like you may have felt wrong and it hurt in that moment and it didn't feel good or whatever, and the pathway down that train of thought was challenging. But at the end of the day, when it comes especially to our subjective worldviews, we are the ones to decide if we are wrong or not, or right in terms of what is working for us.
You know, what it really was that the conclusion I came to was that you are not wrong. They're not right. This is not one of those situations. that has a wrong or a right.
Right.
This is
right.
what they think.
Yes.
And there's enough people, there's probably a considerable amount of people who believe what they think.
Mm-hmm.
There are other people who are walking through the world with probably a far more romantic view of life, you know, than the two of you, or that romantic, and I'm using that in that poetic sense, you know, but, and by romantic, I mean like concerned with a higher order.
Mm-hmm.
And my problem, or like something that has been problematized for me in the recent years, is like my opinion about destiny and all that stuff. And what does that mean? And how do you arrive at it, right? Is it written in the stars, or is this all random? And if it's all random, then how do you make meaning? And the kind of conclusion that I came to from this, recognizing that neither one of us were right, is I can now understand better what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand why some people have a hard time and some people don't. And I can understand why some people end up together and it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand why some people can talk to each other a certain what kind of way or have a certain candor, but it doesn't affect anything. And it's all because of what they tell themselves about what it means to be in a relationship and what is permissible or not when they're in a relationship. And I think it gave me more clarity, but it also uncomfortably for me meant that and not everybody wants to talk about how they see things or how they feel about things. And so you're just kind of taking people by their behavior, by their expression, by their outcome.
And what that does too is it makes you feel more okay with not people pleasing, because the more you understand how subjective things are, the more you're able to let out how you want to operate the world, because you're able to understand they're being them, I'm being me. I don't need to abide by what they're saying if it doesn't work for me. I don't,
right.
There isn't a right, like you said, there isn't a right and wrong here. So I don't need to be afraid of being wrong if it works for myself.
Yeah. And I think what it did, and this is like a big healing point, could be for a lot of people pleasers, is like, there's this, I can't remember her real name, but the person who plays Barbara in Abbott Elementary, she says, like, in real life, this actress said, "What God has for you will not miss you." And that's something I think, like, every people pleaser should kind of, like, hold on to. Because you don't have to make this other person happy. You can be true to yourself and all the wonderful things you want to have happen. Because, like, you may say, like, I want to live in a big house. But the truth is, you want to live in a house that is beautiful and that's your home and that makes you feel at home and that you like to look at, or that has enough space for your family or whatever. Sometimes we can latch onto objects or ideas or people, and in this case we're talking about people. We can latch onto them because of what they represent to us. We imbue all these different little values into this one big thing, which is another person. But if this other person or other people who you're trying to please don't quite align with your well-being, which is what we're kind of talking about, you can have some faith here, which is what I had to gain, is that if I don't please this person, I don't have to please this person to get everything that I want, and I can be myself and I can be honest with myself, respect my own boundaries, respect my own health and my own needs, and that I can still get what I'm trying to get out of life.
Right.
Without having to
idolize others.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that goes really well into kind of some of the consequences that I wanted to talk about too. Like that's where you get a lack of solid identity, when you're trying to attach yourself so much to other people and you idolize them, or you think that just because those around you, because maybe you are like the what do they call it? I think there's another phrase besides ugly duckling. There's like the
black sheep. Yeah,
of like the of the group, and so you may think like, oh, well, then I definitely have it wrong, and it's like, no, that's not the case. You need to have a little bit of faith and trust in yourself. And again, I feel like every time almost that I say something like that, I have to reiterate, as long as it's not, actually causing harm to others, right? I think that's like where one of the lines is kind of drawn
Just
at.
assume that that's implied in everything we're
Yes,
saying.
right. Yes, that would help. And then what it also does is it ensures that you're not going to have like any resentment towards others either.
Well, also, side note, sorry, if you do decide to be somebody who's harmful and you do harmful things to people and then it catches up to you one day, that's just part of your choice in life. And
Yes.
that's the risk you run, and you know that.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, you know it now if you didn't before.
Which you should know it. Anyway.
Yes, but it results in resentment too.
Yeah.
Because if you're repeatedly trying to please those around you and you're not thinking about yourself, then you're going to harbor some negative feelings towards them over time that you may not be really acknowledging that is happening because you're trying to hold everything about yourself back. Right.
Yeah.
It can really kind of lock
that
you
problem.
up. Me too. A little bit recently, and it can really have you feel locked up and make you feel as though that you are just, living. I think I was writing some song lyrics recently that had something to do with this. I actually kind of want to share it now. I'll skip the silence.
I think I have a poem that's similar to that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you didn't like it, though.
Oh, LOL.
I
Really?
think you thought it was pretty contradictory.
Oh, well.
Which I was like, wow.
So it what I have so far is he's trapped inside a world where no one ever goes, his own little cage, his own little home. And so I really like that part because what I'm trying to talk about there is the world that he's trapped inside is his own. It's the mind, right, where no one ever goes because he doesn't allow anyone else to see, right? His own little cage, his own little home. It's restricting you, but it's also because it's comfortable because you're afraid of letting yourself and those things out, and so that can cause a lot of resentment, a lot of resentment and towards others. And then the biggest one that I have is being overly dependent on external validation. If you are a people pleaser, you likely have this problem, and it is not a fun problem to have because it makes it difficult for you to make your own decisions, to walk about life in your own way. It's just, it makes everything difficult. So these are just some of the consequences I had thought about when thinking about this topic, and I just kind of wanted to point them out so that people know, this is what can happen if you let the people pleasing go too far and become a portion of identity. You can be a person who, chooses to adhere to other people's, preferences at times because that's how friendship and living in a society works.
Yeah.
But if you become a person who is a people pleaser, then you are likely doing too much of it at a detriment to yourself.
Yeah, the poem that I had was, if I've got it, then you'll get it. No more asking for off-menu items.
Oh, yeah.
If you're hungry, read the menu. Some things only come well done. No substitutions for this dish here, but you have options with the sides. Everything can be made vegan. Try something, you may like it better. Take a picture of my hours, plan your visit accordingly.
And so what about that I think was contradictory?
I don't know.
I'm wild.
You said something about, how can you say you can order off the...
Oh, well done
something?
if it's
Yeah.
all vegetarian?
You said something like that, and I was like, what?
That is fair.
No, it's not.
It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor of people.
But, yeah.
No, I think it's good. I like the metaphor element. That sounds more like a joke, maybe that
I don't know.
you would take in seriously to victim blame.
I take a lot of jokes seriously.
Yeah, sorry.
I can't always
Kernel of truth,
tell when
right?
people are joking.
Well, that too.
If a joke doesn't have a joke structure,
Knock,
Yeah.
knock.
who's there?
You can't well done a veggie.
Yes, you can.
I guess you can burn it.
Yeah.
Seems like false marketing. If I send I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to do it.
Just
I'm
don't.
just going to.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
No, just hang in there.
Just hang in there.
And I don't know. If you're a people pleaser, just
I'll just start
call the
saying
people
something.
pleasing hotline.
Yeah.
And get your free order of
People pleasing pills.
yes, may cause diarrhea.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to another episode of the A to Z podcast. People pleasers, we love you. We hope you treat
Please.
yourself well. Yeah, please like, subscribe, and
Share with other people.
Yes, yes. Let everyone know we exist. We exist. We're out here. We're in it.
Or are we?
And we're here. We're here, and we want you to please us. So, please.
No.
Like, comment,
No.
share, and subscribe.
No.
And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thanks.
Farewell.
Farewell.